Olá, pessoal, tudo bem? Estou aqui de volta hoje conversando com o Mr. Jensen, nosso conselheiro aqui na D4U. Vocês sabem que o Mr. Jensen é um USCIS Officer aposentado, então ele tem muita experiência lidando com vários assuntos dentro da imigração americana. E a gente está aqui hoje para conversar sobre um assunto que é muito relevante, que gera muitas dúvidas e especulações, que é o Premium Processing Fee. Muita gente tem dúvidas sobre o que é o Premium Processing Fee, como ele funciona, se ele ajuda, se ele atrapalha. E eu estou aqui hoje para trazer essas perguntas para o Mr. Jensen que vocês trouxeram para a gente. So, thank you very much for your time again, Mr. Jensen.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. It is very nice to talk to you. As you know, today we are going to talk about the premium processing fee, and that's a very important topic to our audience because it brings a lot of doubts and questions. So my first question to you, as usual, is the most obvious one, is what is premium processing fee? What is the premium processing fee?
Well, the premium processing is as you know, and as many people know, the processing of petitions and applications in USCIS there's sometimes some substantial wait times for the processing. Typically employment based, which many of our D4U customers are. Typically, those visas and applications are processed more quickly than, say, family-based applications, because the USCIS and the U.S. government gives priority over people that are applying for work visas, and also priority to citizenship naturalization. So the waiting times, depending on where a petition may be submitted, it can vary. But the average normal processing time between all of the offices and service centers that actually adjudicate petitions is about 7 months. Okay, so that's the typical normal processing time, but it could be slightly more than 7 months, again, depending on which office or service center is actually adjudicating the petition. So the benefit and advantages of using the premium processing, which is it's a process that more quickly processes the case for adjudication. The reason why that was done was precisely because of the sometimes lengthy delays in processing employment-based petitions. So the premium processing started probably about 20 years ago, and it started out with limited forms. The number of forms have been expanded. Some forms have been excluded from the premium processing over the years, and some have been added to the premium processing. It just depends on USCIS resources, the type of visa, whether or not it should be eligible for fast processing instead of the normal average 7 months, which I just mentioned.
Yeah. A lot of people have questions because, for example, for the EB2, 3 years ago, there was no premium processing for that. And nowadays, there is the possibility of applying for the EB2 under premium processing. People have questions about why that change happens, and if there is any difference in the way people analyze that, the officers who analyze that. Being a new possibility, people are a little suspicious of that. They don't know how USCIS is going to behave when they analyze that. Can you bring us an explanation about that, about why does it become a possibility if it wasn't before, and if it is actually the same way to analyze, or if something changed?
Yeah, adding the EB2 national interest waiver, as you mentioned, is a relatively new petition that has been included in the premium processing. It's an analysis, it's a risk analysis type of decision that USCIS makes on determining whether or not to include certain petitions to be part of the premium processing. I'm not aware of any other, but again, it's just normally risk analysis of the type of form type that would allow it to go into premium processing. if we want to talk about what the premium processing times are.
Yeah, no, that's something I
Sure.
was going to ask you. I would like to know exactly, because I know there was a recent update to the fees, right? And to the application. So if you can share with us what are the different premium processing, also the fees, and of course the length, the timeline to get an analysis. If you can share with us what are the different ones.
Yeah. Well, since you mentioned EB2, I would just go into that. The premium processing times is for the EB2 is 45 days. Okay, so and USCIS guarantees that a case will be processed within the stated times in premium processing, or they will refund the fee that associated with the premium processing. The premium processing is a person would submit a form that's I-907, and that depending on the type of petition you have, the fees vary, but they vary between $1,685 to $2,805 that you would need to pay in addition to your regular application and petition fees.
Okay.
So for the EB2 and IWs, for instance, it's they guarantee a processing time within 45 days. Other non-immigrant and immigrant employment-based petitions, either with the I-129 or the I-140, will typically, most of those will take, they guarantee 15 days processing time.
Okay.
Very, very quick turnaround on those. And there's a couple other forms for the 765, which is the employment authorization card, and another form type is the I-539. They guarantee 30-day processing time.
Okay.
So they have the 15-day, 30-day, and 45-day processing times that are guaranteed, or you get your money back. So that's
that's very fast when we compare to regular processing times, right?
Exactly.
Very fast. I have a question. It doesn't mean that you're going to have a response within 15, 30, or 45 days, a definite response. You can receive a request for evidence, for example, right?
Sure. And that that is the case, which would extend, but the guarantee is that that the USCIS will do the initial adjudication.
And
you're
going to get some response.
You're going to get some response within a fairly quick time frame, perhaps a few more days after the guaranteed processing times for mailing purposes and for the time that it takes the mail to get to you. Also, your responses would be on your USCIS account relatively faster than the US mail.
Yeah, I understand that. A lot of people take advantage of that. They really get anxious about their responses and they want to pay for it. One question that people always have, and is a curiosity that only a former USCIS officer is going to be able to respond, is if those cases are treated differently. If they are sent to another room, when they get the case there, what is the difference in treatment when they get a case that is under premium processing? Are they analyzed by different officers or the same? Are they more likely to be denied? Are they more likely to be approved? So many people ask those questions and they come up with different theories. So I would like to know with you if those theories make sense.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any difference in the decision making or the analysis. Typically, the cases are going to be adjudicated by the same officers that adjudicate the normal cases that are processed in the normal times that do not go through the premium processing. So each office may manage these caseloads a little bit differently. Some offices may have a dedicated team that will work on the premium processing cases, but they're a group of immigration officers that come from the same officers that do the normal processing case.
Oh, okay, yeah, because those are some of the theories. They say there are the officers that analyze premium processing cases. They are more difficult to please. Let's say it that way. People come up with theories like that. We've never noticed anything to be truth statistically, but it's nice to know what happens on the other side for sure.
Yeah, no, I've never. I mean, I've worked in the service center, and I've never known that that officers would treat a case or be more strict with a premium processing case. I don't think that's true at all. No.
Yeah,
I
no,
think it's just
nice to know.
People are overthinking the issue, and it's just the only difference is between the adjudication and the approval and denial rate. There is no, like you said, statistically speaking, there's very little, if any, difference in those approval and denial rates, whether it goes through premium processing or the normal processing route. So the only difference with the premium processing, you get the same type of officer, the same type of adjudication. It's just faster. It's a fast track. So again, a service center or an office may decide that we're going to manage the premium processing workload. We're going to create a premium processing immigration officer team that would be dedicated to those, and then they would probably most likely would rotate that position with immigration officers to be part of that team to have that experience with the premium processing. But that's it. It's just a management issue of dealing with the caseload, and it bears no impact on the decisions or decision making.
Yeah, no, that's very nice to hear from you, because it's not uncommon that we hear that, oh, I've heard that it's less likely that I'm going to get approved under premium processing. I'm not going to pay for it, although I would like to know the response for my case. And you have no idea, Mr. Jensen. People come up with different Excel spreadsheets with cases from different people that were analyzed in different timelines. But my suspicion and our suspicion here is that cases are going to be analyzed by whichever officer is analyzing their cases, no matter what, right?
That's right.
Yeah. No, that's whoever officer. That's very nice to know. And do you know any downsides of applying for a premium processing other than the money, of course, you're spending on it?
Right. I when you asked me this question before preparing for this video, and I can't really think of a downside, except like you said, the money. If you don't want to spend the extra money.
Yeah, are those the most expensive fees like there are available? Those are the most expensive, right?
Yeah, I believe so. It is quite expensive, between $1,600 and $2,800. But I think if somebody has the resources, if I personally, I would take advantage of it if I could.
Yeah, it buys peace of mind in the end of the day, right?
I mean, 15 days or even 45 days compared to 7 to 14 months. The possible downside is that you're not ready to perhaps travel so quickly.
Yeah.
And if you have time that you can wait. That's the only other thing I can think of that might be a downside. But
yeah,
otherwise, I think it's a great service. People complain about it. It's not fair to the other persons that can't afford it, perhaps. But it is a premium service that industries and governments provide all the time. I just recently renewed my passport, and I selected the premium expedited processing with the Department of State, and it was not as much as these fees we're talking about with the petitions, but it was worthwhile. And I got the passport within 2 weeks, which was incredible compared to the normal processing time. So yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a little bit first class VIP treatment, but if you've got the resources, go for it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. Especially, I've been working with this since before it was a possibility for EB2 applicants, for example. And people, before it was a possibility, they were desperate for it because there were some cases during the pandemic, for example, that they were their processing times were around 20 months, very, very high processing times, and they were dreaming of it. Now that there is a possibility that are people that are reluctant to pay, think that might affect their decision, and I do not think that's true. And it's very nice to hear from you that that doesn't happen. It wouldn't be fair either to have a different way to analyze the thing depending on the processing time. Yeah, no, this very nice clarification. Is there anything else you would like to share about how processing times work and what is the whole timeline within a USCIS office?
No, I think it's a pretty straightforward service. It's relatively uncomplicated, I think we can all agree that it's a great service, and people should take advantage of it if they can.
Yeah, no, that's great to know. It just confirms what we thought, and we thank you very much for your sharing your knowledge with us again.
Sure, no problem. It's my pleasure.
É isso, pessoal. Muito legal a gente ter esse tipo de esclarecimento vindo do Mr. Jensen, trazendo muitas informações importantes, relevantes, desmistificam muito o EB2NW, o EB1 e o Premium Processing em si. Se vocês tiverem qualquer dúvida ou comentário, deixem aqui para a gente faz questão de responder vocês e até a próxima. Até mais!